Welcome, everyone. I'm back, and look who else is back. Mr. C. He has been reinstated to the Six Flags show. Unfortunately, we had to take Wilfred out to the train station, and he will not be returning. It just didn't work out. But we got Caleb back, and we have an exciting episode for you today. What do we got for you, Caleb?
I have no idea.
All right, this is going to be the history of Six Flags St. Louis. I have done so much research going through pages and pages of microfiche, and I have compiled a documentary on Six Flags St. Louis. Everything in here is factual, and I hope you enjoy. So, without further ado, let's get going. Roll the footage. I forgot we do not have a producer. We are still hiring for a producer. Mr. Meeseeks is missing. I've tried contacting him. He left when Caleb got let go. Maybe he'll return. I don't know where he is, but hopefully he'll be back. So, with that being said, I guess I'll roll the footage. You might think the history of Six Flags St. Louis started in 1971. Well, actually, it dates all the way back to 1919, when German immigrants Otto and Marge Flagstein made their way west and settled in the small village town of Eureka, Missouri, just along the banks of the Merrimack River, or the Thunder River, as it was known back then.
Dad, what is this?
Unfortunately, they built their homestead right next to the river, and it flooded in 1920. It was pandemonium. They decided to move a hair north and began to develop their new land. They built a house near a mine and started a family. They had 6 children: Cobb, JB, Willem, Kat, Celia, and little Supergirl. They were collectively known as, you guessed it, the Six Flags.
This is so stupid.
Having the kids working in the mine took its toll. Tragedy struck not once, not twice, but 5 times, and 5 of the 6 children died throughout the 20s and 30s. Legend has it that during Fright Fest every year, you can still see those kids lurking throughout the park. The only surviving Flagstein kid was Cobb, the second born. From that day forward, Otto and Marge would only fly 1 flag on the property, a tradition that is still practiced today. Aren't you enjoying this? In 1940, Cobb joined the military and fought bravely in World War II. He even saved Captain America's life at one point, but was never given any credit. From that day forward, he would only associate with DC Comics. Back at home, the Flagsteins' marriage was shakier than the Screaming Eagle. Marge blamed Otto for the death of their 5 children, and Otto complained about Marge's cooking. Marge started going spin-sane, and one day she just disappeared. The official investigation showed that she was swept away in a monsoon, but others believe Otto poisoned her because monsoons don't happen in Missouri. The chopped 6 meals are prepared poorly to honor the life of Marge.
Dad, nobody believes in any of this. Stop the tape.
Keep it rolling. It was now 1950, and Otto assumed that his only child, Cobb, would never return home because Cobb never responded to any of the text messages he sent him. Otto was all alone and decided to move down to Atlanta. He eventually remarried a 20-year-old Georgia peach named Blanche and had 6 more children. They were called, you guessed it, the Six Flags over Georgia. But Cobb never got those texts. He was busy working his way up the ranks and eventually became a colonel, Colonel Cobb. A snack stand at the park was dedicated to the colonel.
Dad, this makes no sense.
Cobb eventually returned home in 1955. After asking the local townfolk, he learned that his dad had moved away. Depressed and unsure of what to do, he stopped in at a local Buc-ee's and bought a Powerball ticket. 2 days later, he won $150 million, worth $80 trillion today. Disneyland had just opened, and he decided to use his money to build the greatest amusement park ever, Auto World.
Hope none of my friends see this.
Hey, it's important to learn about history so it doesn't repeat itself all the time. Cobb started to build and build and build and build some more. He had constructed most of the gift shops and snack stands, but unfortunately he only got a chance to build one ride that he called the half-ovally looking thing. He couldn't build any more because he lost all of his fortune betting on the St. Louis Rams to win the 1960 Super Bowl. Cobb was broke.
This is beyond stupid.
Cobb scraped by on moose burgers and Dippin' Dots for the next few years. In 1961, architect Eero Saarinen was driving down Route 66 and saw the half-ovally looking thing. He submitted the design that eventually became the St. Louis Gateway Arch. So when you visit the arch today, please know that it was inspired by the structure that Colonel Cobb Flagstein built. Penniless, Cobb was eventually forced off the property in 1967, when the park was sold to theme park investor Alan Tan. Cobb did not leave willingly, and before being removed, he put a curse on the land. He proclaimed that for the next 60 years, this future park would never get an RMC coaster, would never get an updated log flume, and never ever would feed anyone after midnight. That curse lifts in 2027 and is the reason why current executives can never give the park anything good.
What?
Otto eventually died in 1971 due to an unfortunate incident at the Varsity Hot Dog Restaurant in Atlanta. Cobb ended up down the road where he moved in with his mom Marge, who was alive this whole time.
What?
Yeah, Marge faked her death many years earlier just to get away from it all. Meanwhile, the park was built, and it was named after the family who first settled the land. Six Flags over Mid-America. I tried to reach Cobb to see if the owners asked him first to use that name and how he felt about it, but I couldn't get a hold of him, because he died 37 years ago. And that's how it started. Year by year, Six Flags grew and grew and grew and got a bit crappy, then a bit better, then bad, then okay, then I don't really know what it is now, but it's our family and we love our family. I just wish the rides at the park had more twists and turns than this story. The end. I hope you all enjoyed that history lesson of Six Flags St. Louis. Did you enjoy it, Caleb? You know how much research and production and development it took me to do all that?
About 5 minutes.
About 7. But I think it's very necessary. And I think Six Flags should actually play it in the parks so everyone can learn a little more about where this all came from. So, I guess with that being said, this has been another show. We are almost to the end, everyone. Almost to the end. If you're interested in a producer position, please send us your resume. Until then, anything going on with you? Okay. We'll see you next time. May the adventure continue.
Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah.
This episode is history.